Hey Stuart, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Rob. How are you?
Good. So this is our podcast number one, Fear of Taking Dance Lessons. And we did kind of do our introductions, but I'll just introduce myself again. My name is Rob Ironside. I'm the president for the Country Pride Dance Club.
My name's Stuart. I've been with the club for about 5 years, and I am currently grants director.
But he's helping a lot out with promotions and other stuff too. So thank you,
Yeah.
Stuart. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into this one today. So we're going to start talking about fear of taking dance lessons and why. Um, I think one of the big things that people have some concerns when they first are looking at coming out to lessons is that they just don't know anybody. If they're coming there as a single,
Hmm.
I think they have a lot of concerns that way. They don't know if they'll have a partner, but if they don't know anybody, we really try to make it a safe environment so everybody's there to learn, and nobody's watching, making fun of anybody. And so, I think it makes people feel a lot more comfortable. I know when I was learning to dance some of the stuff years and years ago, I didn't have that kind of safe environment. I was taking some lessons in bars, and it wasn't the same thing at all. Um, why don't you just kind of have your perspective on that?
Yeah, I first took country dance lessons. I mean, I dropped in once with Country Pride back in like 2009 when I was like 20, and I only was there for a few lessons because I was working out of town. So the only other place I've taken lessons was in Calgary, and I was just really lucky that they were a good sort of team of instructors there. They would sort of take the time to work with you one on one if you needed it. But Country Pride is the only, by far, the most lessons I've taken with any club. And yeah, I showed up by myself. Yeah, half the reason I was coming out was because I didn't know anyone in Red Deer, right? And it seemed
Right.
like a really good way to sort of meet people and get a new skill while I was doing it. So that's where I sort of learned that one of the things Country Pride does is they make sure to like everyone gets a dance partner. Even if that means like you switch partners during the lesson. And I think another important thing too is that the instructors will actually work with you one on one. In my case, as a follow would team up with me to show me what I was doing wrong, or if I didn't know what I was doing wrong, they could tell me because they were
Yeah.
dancing with me. So
Yeah.
that's something you can't really learn from a video.
No. Um, and so, like I was saying, everybody's there to learn. I think gets busy doing their own thing, so they're really not watching anybody else trying to make fun of anyone.
No.
And as you say, we rotate partners for those that want to. People want to stay with their own partner, that's fine. But
Mm-hmm.
there really is a benefit to learning how to dance with other people. So then that makes it a little more interesting. If you are there as a single, you get to meet other people, and then yeah, it becomes a lot more fun.
Yeah, I think it helps you, depending on how much you want to get into it. It really helps your dancing if you dance with different partners because they're like different heights. They move in different ways, and it sort of helps you recognize what you are doing or what you need to improve on or what you're good at already.
Yeah,
That helps a lot.
absolutely. Um, one thing, I'm just going to go down my list of fears that we've actually heard people talk about over the years when it comes to learning and taking lessons, is that this fear is real. I mean, as far as people
Mm-hmm.
being afraid to learn, it's kind of akin to public speaking.
Yes.
When you're learning to dance and move your body to music, and you're doing that in front of other people, people have a real fear of that, and
Yeah,
it's
they do.
hard. So we address that and say, yes, that's real, but at the
Mhm.
same time, we're going to start, at the beginning. So it's going to be something that we're going to start off slowly, and you'll learn it bit by bit. Excuse me.
Bless you.
So the other big thing there when you talk about that is that fear of rejection. And
Right.
if you're somebody's criticizing you, and it's kind of picking on you, as an instructor, we don't go around to people and say, hey, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. We try to make it very positive and supportive environment, so
Mhm.
it's fun for people. And I think then if you're more relaxed, it's a little bit easier to learn. Any comments on that?
Absolutely. Well, just, I mean, I don't know what people sort of expect going into dance lessons. They probably expect the worst, I guess, to be honest, if they're already like nervous about it. But yeah, the biggest sort of judge is always going to be yourself. And that's the one thing you kind of have to leave at the door. But Country Pride, I mean, the staff, like all the volunteers and whatnot, are going to help you and be supportive. They all get it. They all get that you're on your first day because they all had a first day as well.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and people are, I think, concerned that they're going to embarrass themselves. That's another big one. Um, and and again, with this being supportive, and we try to encourage people, you know, you will make mistakes, and
Oh yeah,
that is just all part of the learning process. But if you embarrass yourself, it really is just you, because everybody else is kind of doing the same thing. And so people, again, you don't get embarrassed if nobody's picking on you to embarrass you, and that's not the intent of any of it. So we really do try to make people feel more comfortable that way.
yeah. So you've probably heard a lot of things since you've been instructing about people, like the different sort of fears they have of it. I would imagine, right? Like they've probably told you all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
we're about halfway down the list here so far. So
Oh, okay.
um, looking stupid. That's another thing I think people are afraid of. And people learn at different rates and different
Mm-hmm.
speeds as far as this is concerned. So um, I found that men, for the most part, they will take longer to learn something because they have to lead it. They have to know how to dance and lead their partner, their woman partner. And so they usually learn it slower, but then they retain it. Whereas the
Mm.
ladies, they tend to learn it quicker, but then a lot of times they'll forget it faster. Now I know I'm kind of stereotyping there, and that's not always exactly the case, but that's what I've found over the years. I don't know how you were with learning. Did you find sometimes you learn some stuff faster and some stuff slower?
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't call myself a fast learner. In fact, like at the beginning, it really felt like I was taking forever to pick things up. But then you're judging yourself next to people who already know how to do it. So, of course, you're going to feel really slow. And the thing I also learned kind of after a few months is that once you've been learning stuff, it's easier to pick up new things. Practicing it is another sort of issue that you kind of have to make time for if you want to keep it. But learning, you start out slow and then you gradually get better at it. And yeah, it's tough as a lead. So I can only speak from that perspective. I mean, you're trying not to get two people in trouble instead of just one. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So as far as looking stupid, that's really not the case. I mean, people are
No.
first learning how to move, and we're going to talk about that. Why take a dance lesson? That's our next podcast. But you're trying to learn how to move your body to music, and if people have never
Yeah.
done that before, then that's hard. And
Yes.
uh, another fears that people have is they say that, well, I didn't learn as a kid. I didn't learn how to dance at all. We've had many adults that have come to the class, and they have never taken a dance lesson, and they might be in their 40s and 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, they struggle a little bit, but at the same time we take our time and we show them that they can go ahead and start from the basics, and then they can go ahead and learn it. It might take them a little longer because yes, if you're younger, maybe you learn faster. um, I did learn as a kid myself, so again, I have a bit of a hard time relating to that, only that I've seen the experiences people have went through. And people have all different kinds of learning curves. Some pick it up fast, some have to practice the basics a lot, and that's okay. So the fact that you didn't learn as a kid, I don't think is a big hurdle. I mean, it might be something that I have to overcome, but it's
Yeah.
definitely doable.
It definitely is. I didn't learn at all until I didn't learn much of anything until I was probably like 27. So yeah, I didn't really get an early start either.
And look at you now. You've been dancing on the team
Look at me
and
now.
done all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Another one that we hear quite a bit is that people say they can't hear the beat and they don't know anything about music. Um, Understanding music is definitely not a prerequisite to learning how to dance. I knew really nothing about music until I got into it a lot deeper. But some people don't even realize, and we had one student in particular that didn't know there was actual beats to music. And so, teaching people how to hear the beat, and we're going to talk about that in another podcast, how to put one dance with what music. But fundamentally, you want to move your feet to the beat of the music. So listening to the music, having an understanding of that well enough so that you can actually dance on the beat. But we show people how to do that too. We count them in, and
Mm-hmm.
we start them off so they can get their footwork proper when they first get going. But yeah, that's another fear people have. Did you have any music background when you got involved? Oh boy.
Connection is acting up right now because it said it was, but um, yeah. Is it
Stuart,
back?
yeah, you're back. Go ahead.
Okay, great. So that might be a quick cut there.
Yeah.
Um, so I played guitar. I had a bit of an idea, but playing an instrument and dancing are two different things.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel like it really related that much. I still had I had that block of not knowing what beat went to with dance, and I just sort of learned. You
Right.
pick it up. Yeah.
Yeah. And because we dance to so much different kind of music, that's another thing.
Yeah.
Everything from country to, a little bit of, I wouldn't say ballroom, but more, the waltzes and cha-cha. There's Latin, some of the swing and, the blues. So there's quite a variety of music to listen to, and depending on the dance that people are trying to learn. Um, the next thing I have on my list is and we kind of talked about this before or a little earlier, but we'll just touch on it again. Is a fear of doing it wrong and making a mistake. I can't tell you how many times I've made mistakes.
Yes.
um, so to think that you're always going to do this perfectly is that, well, number one, that's crazy because you will make mistakes, and that's okay. um, I think you and I were even talking about that. I can't remember if it was you, but somebody with our team. And I don't know if we've ever done a show, and that's even with the people who have practiced it hundreds and hundreds of times, where you haven't made one little mistake. And, that's just the way it is. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, you smile, you keep moving,
Yeah.
you don't dwell on it. And yeah, you have fun with it, even though you make a mistake or two.
Yeah. It's really that kind of thing does bother me, like messing up like the big move that I wanted to do or whatever. And it really shouldn't, but that was definitely something that got under my skin. But like you say, you can do it for years and years and years, and it doesn't always go exactly the way you wanted. But that's because it's not just you. So it stays fun, and yeah, you just don't get too worried about it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in the next podcast too, about partnership and your dance partner. But
Mm-hmm.
when you're dancing with two people instead of just individual dancing, now when you make a mistake, especially from the leader's point of view, you've got to do your stuff and at the same time help her do her stuff. So you have to lead it. So when you make a mistake or make a mistake doing a move, sometimes it's not always a guy's fault. Unfortunately, a lot of times it is. As a leader,
Yeah.
we have to be able to lead it. But it is two people out there on the dance floor. It's not just one person, and that does make a big difference. The next thing on my list is I'm going to step on my partner's feet. I,
Yes.
I, I can't tell you again how many times I've seen people. They dance funny. They're so worried about stepping on their partner's feet that sometimes it immobilizes them. They're afraid they're
Mm.
going to hurt their partner, and we show people how to rectify that, how to offset themselves so that they're not going to step on each other's feet. Will you stumble once in a while and not be on the same footwork? Yeah, yeah, of course that'll happen as well. But we do definitely show people how to be able to minimize that so it's not nearly as bad. uh,
Yeah,
yeah, go
that
ahead.
wasn't really like I was just going to say that wasn't like a huge fear of mine, but also to what you're saying, like this, the dance, once you know how to do it, it's really rare.
Yeah, definitely. The next one on my list is the fear of rejection.
Hmm.
Um, I think because this is such a social activity, and if people have been out dancing before and they've been rejected, and this could be from
Right.
the male's perspective or the female's perspective, I think that causes some baggage. Um, I know when it comes to our club and with going out socially, everybody dances with everybody. So again, I think it has this. We address this by making people realize that we have a really safe environment. Everybody dances with everybody. That's not a fact that they're going to get rejected. We want to help people learn, and so if they're going to go ahead and dance with other people, they can. They're going to get a yes. They're going to say yes. I'll dance with you. Not very often will if they're struggling or whatever, they may only have one dance with you, but
Hmm.
and if you find somebody that you really click with and you dance well with, then you're probably going to dance a lot with them. Any comments on that one?
I'm sure that it's something that goes through people's minds. I mean, unless they're coming to lessons with a partner already, they probably know that at some point down the line, they probably have to ask someone who they don't know if they want to dance. And so that, yeah, can there can be stress on that, partly because like they're building it up to this thing where it's like, I got to ask them to dance and then I got to be like good. I have to be good at this thing, which kind of takes all the fun out of it. So it feels kind of like another one of putting pressure on yourself.
Yes.
And it's just something that, at least in the lessons, it's really structured so that you work past that and you don't make that a big deal because everyone's learning, right?
Right.
Once you know how to do it, it's totally different.
I was going to comment to that. I think part of that fear of rejection, you can address it easily by if you've taken a few dance lessons, then you
Mm.
have that confidence, and so then you know that I can ask this woman to dance, and or the lady too. Same thing. She can go ahead and be confident that she can dance with somebody who asks her to dance because she knows how to do the basic steps, because I've had that from both people. Oh, I don't want him to ask me to dance, or I can't ask her to dance because I don't know. But if you've taken some basic lessons, you know how to get out there and just do and have fun with it again. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, if you can have fun with it and then you realize like if someone doesn't feel like dancing, it might just because they're having a bad day. It's nothing to do with you.
That's right.
And taking it personally is, I find dance helps you not take things so personally because you realize it's not a big deal. I mean, first of all, it humbles you, right? Because like you get used to making mistakes and all that, but then also people are all in their own little like world and it's not all about you.
Yes. Yes.
I think, yeah.
Well, and kind of a summary here. We can talk a little bit more, but I've gone through most of my points. My example that I always tell people that if you're sitting there, you're not dancing, and you see somebody up there having fun, they're trying to do the best they can, but they're making mistakes, but they still look like they're having a good time. Do you think they look stupid? And no, you don't. You think, okay, well, yeah, they're just out there having fun. And so, what makes you any different? So, if you're out there,
Mm-hmm.
you're trying, even though you're making mistakes, people don't think you look stupid. They just think you're out there and you're doing the best you can and having fun doing it. So, I think always keeping that perspective might address some of the fears that people have.
For sure. I mean, all these examples you sort of laid out here is all stuff that I mean, most of them went through my mind at some point back in the day. And once you're there, I, I find once you start learning, you just forget about all that stuff because you're too busy.
Yeah.
And then down the road, you're like, oh, did I used to think that way? Oh, I guess I did. That's different now.
Yeah, and I'll kind of, I guess we can end with this, just talking about our environment that we have. We really strive to have the most positive environment for people to take a class. Festival Hall, where we do our lessons, is a big facility, and it's nice. It's got a beautiful dance floor in there.
Mhm.
So I mean, as far as people learning, I can't think of a better place to learn how to dance. And the people, we all try to make it friendly. We're always trying to chit chat with people. Of course, Kathy and myself, as the instructors, or one set of the instructors, we're pretty busy, so sometimes we don't get around to everybody. But at the same time, we do try to talk to everyone and make sure that they feel comfortable. So, any kind of final words, Stuart, or comments?
I think it, I would really recommend if someone hasn't, been to a dance lesson or to a country pride lesson before, they should just, if they're wondering about it, they should come down and just check one out. I mean, I'm sure we've had people come down and look who didn't even know if they wanted to dance at all. And then you can sort of gauge from there if it's something that works for you. Because I think it, I mean, there's all kinds of people who come out. So they've all found something there that they really like. I did also. Yeah.
That's exactly right. We do have a drop in. We encourage people to sign up for the 4 week session, or sometimes we do a 6 week session. But sometimes people do just stop in and check it out and make sure it is what they want to do, and we're fine with that. So yeah, we just try to make it as encouraging as possible.
Absolutely.
So I think that concludes this first podcast.
Nice.
This is the first one of many that we're working on, and I just want to thank Stuart for being here with me and having a discussion. I think it's a lot better to have someone to kind of bounce ideas off with, and we'll see you on the next podcast.
See you on the next one.